You have probably seen them, maybe you even made them. Those whimsical Ghibli-style images that flooded social media, transforming everyday photos, memes, public figures into something nostalgic and run basically. It felt like harmless fun, right? Even OpenAI CEO Sam Altman joined in, changing his profile pictures and millions of the people engaged with it. But then the message changed. On March 27, 2025, Altman posted something revealing. It's super fun seeing people love images in ChatGPT, but our GPUs are melting. They even had to put limits on image creation. It sparked the thought in me, melting GPUs, where does all that heat goes? Where does the smoke, the carbon dioxide actually ended up? How are they cooling this incredible powerful machine? Suddenly, the fun trend felt different. It made me dig deeper, and what I found was a hidden reality, a staggering environmental cost behind the AI we use every day. Because the real meltdown is not just inside the servers in Silicon Valley, it's happening in places like Memphis, where communities breathe polluted air near data centers. It's happening in drought-stricken Arizona, where towns ration water while AI servers drink deeply. It's in the atmosphere, quietly absorbing AI hidden carbon footprint. Each one of those Ghibli-style images that we are generating are reportedly used about 3.2 kilowatt of energy, and which is enough to power our home for 8 hours. If a million users did that, imagine just why I'm saying imagine, already a lot of people are doing this. If just a million users did that, it could generate 12 tons of carbon dioxide daily. Like you can add 3,000 extra gasoline cars to the road every single day. And this is not just a futuristic warning, it's the price we are paying right now, every time when we click generate. And remember guys, that viral trend was just a tiny glimpse into a much larger issue, because we are so caught up in the magic of AI, asking questions, generating text, creating art, that we forget everything has a price. And literally we don't see the massive industrial engine coming behind the screens. So let's pull back the curtain. I am Digital Detective and you guys are awesome. The thirst for power. Guys, we already know that AI's appetite for electricity is staggering, and those data centers, basically the warehouse packed with the servers running those complex calculations, are the real energy black holes. And you might be thinking that how much energy are we talking about? Projections suggest that by 2027, AI alone could consume about 85 to 134 terawatt hours of electricity annually. And you can compare this to the entire annual electricity consumption of countries like Netherlands or Sweden. And this represents us about 0.5% of current global electricity use, and it's growing rapidly. The International Energy Agency (IEA) and the others predict that the electricity consumptions of all data centers, which is heavily fueled by AI, could be doubled by 2026, might potentially reaching 1,000 terawatt hours. Even some recent IEA reports suggest that data centers could consume more than double that by 2030, potentially reaching over 945 terawatt hours, more than Japan's total electricity use today. And listen guys, this is not just an abstract number. The demand is so intense that the coal-fired power plants in places like Kansas City and West Virginia have reportedly delayed their closures, specifically to power AI. And honestly, think about that. We are keeping polluting plants online longer, partly because of AI's energy need. And what about the tech giants? Because Google reportedly saw its greenhouse gas emissions jump 48% in 2024, partly due to its AI expansion. Microsoft and Meta have reported similar increases, and this energy demand is real and it has real-life consequences. Guys, all we know that all the energy has to come from somewhere, and when it comes from the fossil fuels, the result is a massive carbon footprint, the carbon shadow. We often think of digital actions as clean, weightless, but they are not. Research suggests a typical Google search emits around 0.2 of carbon dioxide. What about an AI query, like asking ChatGPT something? Here estimates vary, but a common figure suggests that it emits around 1 gram of carbon dioxide, maybe more depending on complexity, roughly 5 times more carbon intensive than that simple Google search. Some analysis suggests that ChatGPT 4 queries could be even higher, potentially 10 times or more compared to a Google search. And that single seemingly harmless ChatGPT question you asked about your vacation, it might emit enough carbon to boil multiple kettles. And it's not just using AI. Training these massive models is incredibly energy intensive. Training a model like GPT reportedly consumes 700,000 liters of fresh water and generated significant emissions, while training ChatGPT-4 was estimated to consume over 50 million kilowatt hours, potentially producing over 12,000 tons of carbon dioxide, equivalent to the annual emission of 3,000 US homes. 3,000 US homes. And remember, developers train thousands of models to improve this technology every day. And with ChatGPT seeing over 1.5 billion visits back in March alone, these individuals' emissions add up incredibly fast. Like the recent estimates suggest that AI's carbon emission could be double between 2022 and 2030. But guys, energy and carbon are only part of the story. To prevent those GPUs from actually melting, these data centers need massive cooling systems. And often that cooling relies on another precious resource, water. Water, highs. AI data centers are incredibly thirsty because those servers generate immense heat and often water is used in cooling towers or evaporative systems to dissipate it. And this scale is hard to comprehend. And remember the ChatGPT training because it did not just use energy, it consumed around 700,000 liters of fresh water, which is basically enough to produce about 370 BMW cars or 320 Tesla electronic vehicles. For example, consider Microsoft data centers. In 2022, their global water consumption surged 34%, which is partly attributed to AI development. A specific facility in Goodyear, Arizona, a state battling to severe drought, is estimated to use over 500,000 gallons daily, potentially peaking at 1 million gallons right now. And that's 56 million gallons a year, which is equivalent to the annual water needs of around 670 families. It's directly drawn from a region where farmers face irrigation cuts and residents face shortages. And honestly, getting exact figures can be difficult. Even reports mention Microsoft detecting water use data as proprietary. For example, their Iowa data centers reportedly accounted for 6% of a local district's freshwater use on peak days. And globally, the projections are alarming. Even one study estimated AI's water consumption could reach to 4.2 to 6.6 billion cubic meters by 2027, which is nearly half the UK's total annual water usage, or more than the annual withdrawal of Denmark. And it's potentially impacting water access for millions. Generating text with AI is not just about electricity. It's estimated that answering 10 to 50 prompts with ChatGPT-3 could consume about half a liter, a pint of water. A 100-word email generated by ChatGPT-4, which is consumed around 519 ml, roughly a full water bottle. Think about that, guys, when over 2.2 billion people worldwide lack access to safe drinking water. And seriously, are we diverting this critical resource to cool servers for tasks that are sometimes we just use for entertainment? Because this massive consumption of energy and water is not just an environmental issue, it's an environmental justice issue. The burden that does not fall equally. The human faces of AI footprint. Often these massive data centers are built near marginalized communities who then bear the brunt of the environmental consequences. For instance, take South Memphis, Tennessee. Reports surface about Elon Musk's AI data centers allegedly doubling its gas turbines from 15 to 35 without proper permits, potentially violating the Clean Air Act. This facility requires an estimated 1 million gallons of water daily and powered mainly by methane generators, sit in a predominantly black neighborhood already burned by pollution. The Southern Environmental Law Center filed complaints highlighting concerns about increased air pollution, which is potentially 130 tons of pollutants annually, and also the potential health impacts like increased asthma rates in a community described as ground zero for pollution. The projection reportedly moved forward quickly, catching local officials and the official off guards. And this is not just isolated, because protests have erupted in places like Chile, Uruguay, over data centers tapping into drinking water reservoirs while locals face shortages. In Oregon, Google's data center reportedly consumes 25% of water in the Dallas, a drive area with plans for expansion. And if we see the patterns, the benefits of AI are widely distributed, but the environmental cost, polluted air, strained water supplies are often concentrated in communities with less power to fight back. And this is where we come in. As users, we have power. Understanding the hidden cost can change how we interact with AI. Do we need to generate dozens of images just for fun, or can we be more mindful about our queries? Because every AI image we don't generate saves resources, perhaps metaphorically a bathtub of water. Every complex query we skip avoid a puff of carbon dioxide. Small actions multiplied by millions can send up even a greater message. Because AI holds incredible power, it can help tackle climate change, accelerate scientific discovery, and improve our life in a countless way. We need to demand responsible innovation. We need development that balances progress with planetary health. Because the AI won't remember the thousands of prompts you did not send, but the planet will. Digital Detective.